Hey there, Python programmers. Welcome back to Brad Codes. And today we're going to be working on part 2 of our Snowman terminal game series. So if you didn't do part 1, you're going to want to go back and check out that video where we started out writing a couple helper functions for our Snowman game. We've got our get game word helper function here that's going to randomly select a word from our starter file. And we've got our handle guess. Real quickly, let's revisit handle guess. We need to add something to it. This logic here of guess in, well, we actually want all of our guesses to be in there. So we actually need to do not in, right? Because if our guesses are in there, we want to move forward. It's a good guess, so we just do need to add that not. Don't forget to come in and do that. And now we'll jump into our main event, the play game function here. This is going to handle playing the game of Snowman. Let's just remember to invoke it right here at the end because we're going to want to start playing it for sure. Cool, so now that we're going to play our game, first thing we'll want to do is clear our display, os.system passing in the string of clear. Basically the same thing as typing a clear in the terminal like that. Sweet. Next, we're going to want to start printing out some of the things we have. We've got a logo. We actually probably need to import that for sure. So from our logo file, we'll want to import the logo. And while we're up here, let's grab our snowman from stages too. So from stages, we'll want to import that snowman list. Cool. All right, so first we'll print out the logo. Then we're probably going to want to print some text on the screen like welcome to Snowman. Boom, boom, and I need an opening parentheses. All righty, not that many. Cool. I'm going to want to maybe have another print or two, so this one will be fun. We can totally use emojis in our strings if we want. So I'm going to make this one feel like we're singing. We'll copy those notes to the end. And now, oh boy, do you want to melt a snowman? That feels like a 3 apostrophes kind of event. Cool. And now we maybe want to give our user a little bit of instructions. So guess the word before the snowman melts. And that's basically what our game is going to be about. Cool. Now we're going to want to set up a few variables to handle playing our game. So we want a game word, I'm going to call it. And we already made that helper function of get game word, so we just want to invoke that. It'll read in the file, randomly pick a word from it, and now we've got a game word to play with. I also want to build a display. So I'm going to store like display instructions in a list, and it's going to help me print them out. To start though, I need underscores or like blank spaces for every single letter that's going to be in my game word. So we can do that dynamically using a range based off the length of that game word. And again, we really need to make this dynamic because if our game word is only 4 letters, we're only going to need 4 blanks. If our game letter word is 10 letters, we're going to need 10 blanks. So this will make as many blanks as we have letters. I'm going to have a variable called chances, basically keeping track of how many guesses or chances our user has to play. We did talk about having some data type that's going to store all of the guesses. I'm going to use a set because our guesses should be unique, and that's something that a set does ensure. Again, when we make an empty set, we do have to use the set constructor because that is going to default to an empty dictionary. So again, one tricky thing about sets. And then at this point, let's print what our snowman looks like to start. So this is one of the reasons why I wanted to have chances start at 0 and increase instead of being 6 chances and decrease. We can use the integer value of chances to index into our list of snowman melting images or a string art. So it's going to be helpful there. And then let's also print our display. We're going to want to do a dot join on an empty space, because what that'll do is that'll take all of our underscores and join them together on empty spaces. Cool. So that's going to like start the setup of our game, and then we'll want to start playing it. So kind of like with our bad guess, I'm going to set a variable. While we are playing the game, we're going to want to do a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to want to have a guess, and that's going to be our handle guess function invoked, saving our guess to that. And at this point, maybe we just let's print we got here, and then maybe do a break real quick, just so we can see how much of our game is working so far. Uh-oh, what do we got? An error. Name len is not defined. Oops, I accidentally capitalized the built-in length function. Let's try that again. Handle guess, missing one required positional argument. Oh yeah, if we remember, we defined handle guess to take in the guesses. I did not remember to do that here, so we gotta pass in guesses. Third time is the charm, they say. Hey, look at that. So far, we are printing out our snowman ASCII art. We've got our text here. We're printing out our full to-start snowman, and we've got 4 letters. If we guess an A, we got here. Awesome. Very cool. So we are making great progress so far. Cool. So now that we can handle, our game is started and we're accepting guesses, we have to do a couple things. If we've gotten to this point in our while loop, it means our guess was returned as a good, valid guess. We're going to want to record it in our set. So we can do guesses.add. That guess, and again, now the next time we go through this while loop, when we prompt the user for handle guess, well, the guess they made will be saved and recorded there. Cool. Now that they've made a guess, what we'll want to do is we'll want to update the display, because we're going to have to now print it to show them, you know, how they did they guess a correct letter. So for index, and I want both the index and the letter. So I'm going to use one of my favorite built-ins, the enumerate. And that, given an iterable, here we're going to give it our game word to iterate through. That will make a list of tuples having an index and a value that we can unpack into our index and letter here. It's going to be very helpful. All we now want to do is check if the letter we are looking at, does it equal our guess. If it does, it means, hey, we guessed the correct letter. We now want to change that in our display. So our display at the current index we're looking at, this is why we needed our index. This now needs to equal our letter. And I'm going to have it to upper, just so they'll all look like upper cases. Again, that we're going to print it here. We're not comparing it. Cool. So that should, again, now print the word, or print the newly updated word with any guessed letters now changed from a blank into the actual letter. Now let's check if they got a right guess. So if the guess is not in the game word, sorry, not in game word, basically it means that, hey, you had a guess. It passed all of our guess validations here, but it just wasn't a correct letter. Hey, sorry, like, we have to take one of your chances away. So chances plus equals 1, because we're counting up. We probably want to give a little bit of feedback, something, you know, like, hey, oh, that should not be capital F, but we'll want to use an F string here. Something like, sorry, that letter was not in the game word. And we can actually, so that letter, we can actually print that letter right here instead, right? So we can use our guess dot upper. So it prints out nice, was not in the game word. So sorry, you know, oops-a-daisy. And then at this point, We also need to determine if their chances have reached the max, right? Because again, no matter what, we want to say, hey, you didn't get the right thing. But if your last guess was the last guess you have, so we could say if chances now equals 6, right? Because that'll be our max. You're out of chances. Ooh, you've lost the game. At this point, we'd probably want to clear the screen, and then we have to give our player the sad, sad news that, hey, first we'll print the melted snowman, and while we could totally use our chances, again, if we know we've lost, we can just do -1, because that is always going to be at the end of the list, so that'll print our poor melted snowman. We should set play equal to false at this point too, because again, at this point, the game is over. So we'll want to stop. And then we should probably tell them that they've, lost now. Because again, so far we've only told them they did not make a correct guess. But it just so happened that this was their last chance to make a correct guess. So I like to tell the user that, at least tell them the word that it was. The word was, and again, we know the word, we can do our game word upper. And then we're going to do something like poor Frosty because he melted. And we can even add in another fun emoji. I think there is a water droplet. Yeah. Aw, poor Frosty. Cool. Now, at this point, we could, and we will come back eventually and do maybe play again functionality. But for now, let's just go ahead and return. Because again, return will exit our function. Technically, it'll exit the while loop as well. Our game is over. But again, we can come back and add some different functionality. So this is only going to happen, though, if they have lost. If they've won, right? If they got a good guess, they're going to most likely be moving forward. So what we need to do is probably print out all the stuff we've been printing all along. We could print the snowman at chances. What else have we been printing each time? We can print our display. Boom. At this point, also, we're going to start to have some guesses lifted. So we might want to go ahead and print out the guesses too. So let's do something like that. We'll print F string most likely. You have guessed. Boom. And we can just print out our guesses right here. Because again, we're going to need to show the new updated list or the updated word with the guess values there to our user, and then ultimately we're probably going to be looping back or checking if they've won, because at this point we have a check for losing. Again, they could run out of chances. We do now have to check if they've won. So how do we do that? Well, one way is if there are no longer any underscores in display, right? If those are not in our display, it means that our user has gone through and guessed each. Ooh, I can't spell display. There we go. They have guessed each and every letter. There's no longer an underscore. That means, hey, they had to have guessed it all. So now they've won. We'll probably want play to be false again. So we stop looping and letting them guess. Now we need to tell them, hey, you've won. So we'll do a print. And we'll do our game word maybe to upper. Like we've been doing, game word dot UPR was the word. Yay for you. And then we can do you win and Frosty lives. That sounds like a boom. And then we can even throw in a happy little snowman. Look at that. Frosty made it. Yay. Cool. And then at this point, we know we could and will add play again functionality, but at this point, the game is over. So most likely we want to return. Again, that will get us out of the while loop, out of the function, just end the game. Let's see if we've got a working game. Looking good so far. Let me make it nice and big. So we've got all our prints. We've been prompted to guess a letter. I'm going to guess A. I have guessed A. It looks like it is successful. Looking good so far. Let's keep guessing. Ooh, guessed an E correctly. Let's try some of our validation. So guessing E again. You already guessed E. Try again. No penalty. Ooh. We might want to reprint our stuff right there, though, right? Because this now is difficult. I don't have my list of what I've guessed already. Let me try guessing like a letter like S. We get it back now. But again, it looks like we need to fix something. Let's keep playing and guessing, though. So what if we guess one we already guessed of A? Cool, that's great. Let's guess 4. That seems to be working as well. And if we guess 3 letters, also doesn't like it. Cool, so I'm happy with that functionality. Ooh, we did not get an H. All right. Let's see, I'm going to try maybe an N. Ooh, okay, maybe a T as well. ST. I'm still not sure what it is. Let's give maybe an I. No. How about an L? Oh, I am melting away, but I have an ST. M, maybe? ST blank. I'm not going to get this one. Oh, man, I should be embarrassed. Okay, whoops, I messed up there. You lose strange. Ooh, oh yeah, I should have got that one. But it does show that, hey, we can certainly lose, and a lot of mechanics are in there. So most likely what I'm going to want to do is just take this code, these prints. And again, this is probably only something we'll do for the short term. But let's go ahead and put them in after each one of these, because it looked like we were kind of missing it there, right? Like when we hit any one of our validators, it just didn't want, well, we didn't see our game board, and it would be really good to see that each time. Now, we do see that we are printing a lot of the same thing over and over again, and that is rarely good. So I do see an opportunity for a bit of a refactor here as well. But for now, we would just like to get it working. So let's try again. All right, we're going to guess an A. Cool. If I guess A again, oh, what happened? Chances is not defined. Ooh, okay, so that is a problem we have where we needed chances. It looks like we're going to need a display as well, but that's because we are passing, or we're trying to print them from our handle guess. So what we can do is just print, or pass those two to handle guess when we call it. So let's do that. Our handle guess right here. So we need to give it guesses. We're going to need to give it chances. And we'll also need to give it display when we call it. And then up here as parameters, let's just add those in. And a display. And that should fix this problem. All right, playing Snowman again. E was correct. Cool. So if we guess E again, we already guessed it, but hey, it reprinted our game screen, so that is pretty awesome. Let's see if there's an A. All right. This may be an E. Oh, okay. Save. Maybe have. Oh, man. Save, have. Name. Cave. Could be cave. Oh, boy. We did save already. Did have already. Oh, man. Rave? I don't think so. Oh, this is going to be a rough one to get wrong. Pave? Could be pave. Oh, boy. Could be gave. Nope. Wave. Oh, we were almost going to get there. Cool. Well, at this point, it does look like we've got a working Snowman game. So again, Snowman, kind of like that game Hangman, except a little less morbid, where we're melting a snowman instead of killing someone. I will do a few more videos on this because, again, I see a couple opportunities for definitely we need to refactor how we're printing stuff because it is never a good idea to have the same code over and over again. It's not dry. If we change it in one place, it's not going to be changed in the other. So we need probably a printer helper function. And hey, maybe we want to add in that play again functionality. So hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon with another video in the Snowman series.